everyone, this is Deepika Patel and welcome to the SchoolQuizz class. So let's start our today's class, and today we will continue our series that is the previous year question and the most possible questions that come into your examination. Okay, so let's start. And in the previous video we have left in these three questions. So we have to complete these three questions and let's see how we can solve it. Okay, so let's start. Just let's just give me a second so that I can erase it. Okay, so let's start from the very question one, and the question one is asking for the asexual reproduction, and here you can see that the question. Okay, so in the question one, the question is asking for the asexual reproduction and its kind. So let's say if this question can come into your examination for the 3 marks. So for the 3 marks, we will see how we can write it. Okay. So for the 3 marks, you have to write. Firstly, you have to describe the asexual reproduction. So what is asexual reproduction? So you will write like this: asexual. Firstly, you have to do the heading thing. Reproduction. Or you can write like this: asexual reproduction. Okay. So what is asexual reproduction? So you will write that it is a biological process. See, if you write like it is a process, so this will give a little less impact than the it is a biological process. Okay, so it is a biological process where a single parent involved or you can write in place of involved, that is single parent responsible for the reproduction is known as the asexual reproduction. Okay, reproduction. So this is the asexual reproduction. Now move to the question, and from the next part the question is asking for the its kind. So if you are writing for the 3 marks, so you have to just write the name of the kinds. Okay, so what are the kinds of the asexual reproduction? That is, you will write like this: just a second. Okay, so you will write just a second, let me erase this. So you will write the kinds of asexual reproduction are. Okay, so what are the kinds? There is fission reproduction, asexual reproduction. Okay, and in the fission you have the binary and the multiple fission. Multiple fission. Okay. Second, you have fragmentation. Fragmentation. Third, you have the regeneration. Regeneration. Okay. And the fourth, you have this the budding. Okay. And fifth, spore formation. Spore formation. And next you have the vegetative propagation. Okay, so these are the kinds. Vegetative propagation. So these are the kinds for your question. Okay, now the question is also asking for the examples here with its kinds and the example. Okay, so what you will do, you will just here in the kinds itself, you will write the examples like this text examples. You can, or you can also like this, the kinds of asexual reproduction with examples here, with examples. Okay, and just make a box, and here you can write this is the kind. Okay, kind part, and here you can do the parameter for the examples also. Okay, so this will be simple for this type of question. So here you can see the examples. Okay, so see, this is a simple, this type you can do for this type of question. Okay, so you just do the perimeter thing, and here you can write the example of every kind. Okay, so for the fission we have the example of the amoeba. Okay, amoeba, plasmodium, leishmania. Okay, so plasmodium is for the multiple and amoeba is for the binary. Okay, so you do not need to write like amoeba is for binary, plasmodium is for multiple. You just write the examples because uh, here is no need to differentiate that which type of examples. It is come under the fission asexual reproduction itself. Okay, and for the fragmentation we have the example like Spirogyra. Okay, just check the spelling. Regeneration is planaria, we have the example. And budding, for the budding we have the example hydra. For the spore formation we have the example of like rhizobus, the plant. Vegetative propagation, like we have, you can write the name for the rose plant or any plant. Okay, you can also write for the mango tree, mango plant. Okay, so why? Because in the vegetative propagation we know that there is a method of the cutting, layering and the grafting thing. Okay, so we can do the cutting, layering and grafting in the rose plant, so we can write the example of the rose plant. Okay, so this type you can deal with the questions of the 3 marks. Okay, if it asks in the 3 marks, so I believe that it will not ask for the 3 marks because it is so lengthy. So they will ask for you this question for the 5 marks. Okay, so you can see here that this is a very good uh, answer for this type of question, that you have just tell the definition first. Okay, what is the asexual reproduction, and make a table for its kind and for its example. So it is a very systematic way to answer the questions of this type, where they will ask you like for the examples or for the kinds and the examples with the examples. Okay, so you can do this type of idea. And now let's move to the next question. And before moving the next question, let's just revise all these kinds. Okay, in a simple word. So what is fission asexual reproduction? In the fission asexual reproduction there is the splitting happens. Okay, so the parent cell is dividing into a two daughter cells, that is the binary fission. Okay, and if the parent cell is dividing into a multiple daughter cells, so that is the multiple fission. Okay, now fragmentation. So in the fragmentation, uh, the body will fragment into a parts, and then those parts will grow into a full body. Okay, so these are the fragmentation. Regeneration, the broken parts will grow into a new one. So this is the regeneration process. What is the budding? So a bird will growth as an outsource, okay, in a body in a specific part of the area, and when that bird matures, so it will detach from the body, okay, from the main body, and that's how the budding process happens. Spore formation, you know the braid part, and vegetative propagation, I just told you the cutting, layering, and the grafting thing. Where in the cutting, you just cut the stem of the plant and just grow in the soil, and in the layering, you just take a stem of the plant and grow in the soil, and when the plant is grown, then you just cut the stem. Okay, and what is the grafting? You take a stem of two plants and just add these two plants like this by the cow dung or the soil, and after few days you will see that it will grow into a full-fledged plant with their flowers. Okay, with their flowers. So these are the vegetative propagation. So in the vegetative propagation, there is no seed required for the plants, okay, for the plant to grow. So these are the asexual reproduction and its types. Okay, now we will see the next question, that is the explain the process of reproduction in the plants. Okay, I hope this is clearly visible to you. Yes, so explain the process of reproduction in plants. So you know, in the plants there is a process of the reproduction, that is firstly the pollination will happen, then the fertilization, then the formation of seeds, and then the germination. Okay, so what is the question? The question is explain the process of reproduction in plants. Okay, so answer, you will write the answer like this, that there are four process for the reproduction in plants. Okay, so you will just write the name firstly. The first is process is the pollination. Pollination. Second, fertilization. Third, formation of seeds. And the fourth one is the germination. Okay, so these are the process. Now what will you do? You will just start from the first process and just start the describing thing. Okay, so first process is the pollination. So you will write the definition of the pollination. What is pollination? You will write that it is a process. It is a process where the pollen grains transferred by wind, insect, you can also write etc, by wind, insect, etc, from anther to stigma of the flower, stigma of the flower. So it is a process where the pollen grain is transferring from the anther to the stigma of the flower. Okay, so this is a pollination. And now you can also write that there are two types of pollination. Remember, if it is asking for the five numbers question, okay, two types of pollination, and just name that pollination, that is the self pollination and the cross pollination. Self pollination and the cross pollination. Cross pollination. Okay. So in the self pollination, you know that the pollen grain are transferring to the, you can write here like pollen grains is transferred to same flower, transferred to same flower. And in the cross pollination, pollen grains is transferred from one flower to another flower. Okay, transferred from one flower to another flower. Next, we have the fertilization process. Fertilization. So in the fertilization, what will happen? That pollen grains burst into a tube-like structure, and reach to the ovary, where they fuse with the female egg cell, and form a single cell zygote, or you can write only form a zygote, which is single celled, single celled. Okay. Now the third process is the formation of seeds. Third, formation of seeds. Okay, so in the formation of seeds, what is happening, that you know that is the ovary, and in the ovary there is a ovule, and in the ovule they have the female egg cell. Okay, and this is the ovary. So what is happening here, that when the zygote formed, and the cell division is started, okay, and from this cell division the embryo is formed. Okay, and later this embryo is turned into a seed, and you know that is this ovule seed, and ovule will turn into the outer layer of the seed, outer layer of the seed, okay, right, of the seed. So this is the embryo. And what happened to the ovary? So ovary is turned into a fruit, and the rest part of the flower is just destroyed, okay. So this is the formation of seeds process. So how seed is forming? Seed is forming from the zygote, then cell division, then embryo, then seeds. Okay. So you can write it in this way, like from the zygote, the embryo formed, formed, and later this embryo will turn into a seed. Will turn into a seed. Okay. So this is how the seeds is forming, and you can also do here the level diagram like this, that ovary, ovule, okay. So in the ovule you have the zygote, then cell division. You know, when the cell is divided, then if it is a this like this is the ovary, and here is the ovule. So ovule is here in this part of area already. So when the cell is division is happened, so this can cover the whole part of this area, okay. So cell division, then embryo, then seeds, okay. So this is how you can represent that how the formation of seeds is happened, okay, and how the seeds formed. Okay. Now we have next, that is the germination process. So what is germination process? Germination. So you can write simply in this process that the seeds grow into a plant, okay, where the cotyledon helps the seeds to grow, or provide energy to the seeds to grow, okay. So this is the germination process, and here you can see, so here you can see that here. So this is the question, explain the process of reproduction. I hope you can see clearly, okay. So you just write the names of the process and just do the one or two line explain the process, and just do the if it is possible, so just do this type, that the label diagram type, so it will impact more to the examiner, okay. I'm talking about this label thing, okay. So this label thing you can do. Now we have next question, and that is So the next question is whether the reproduction is a life essential process or not. Give your reasons. Okay. So I'm writing here. So I think if this type of question framed, so they will ask you for the 3 marks because okay. So they will ask you for the 3 marks. So the question is whether the reproduction is a life essential process or whether the reproduction is a life essential process. Give your reasons only. Give your reasons. Okay. So you will write like this, that firstly you have to tell them what is the life essential process. Okay. So you will write like this, that the life essential process is that just a second. The life essential process is that. So write like this. The process which is necessary to our body to our, or you can write like this, for our body to survive is known as the to survive. Then you will write to survive like respiration, circulation, nutrition, excretion is known as the life essential process. Okay. So now you have now you have tell them that what is the life essential process. Okay. So in this process you told them that it is a life essential process. Okay. Now you have to tell them why the reproduction process is not the life essential process. So you will write that as we know that reproduction is a biological process where individuals where living beings have the capability or have the ability to reproduce offspring, okay. So this is the reproduction process. Now you will tell them how reproduction process is different from the other process, okay. So you will tell them that how it is different. So you will write that so you will write here that so this is a process which is which is responsible for continuation of life of life. This is a process which is responsible for continuation of life, and even if it is not done, it will not affect the individual because an individual can survive without this process. So we can say that it is not life essential process, but it is important for but it is important for the living beings but it is important for the living beings and the environment and the environment. Okay, so you can write the answer this type. Okay, so you have to close the answer on the positive note. Okay, even if you believe that this is not the answer, but you have to close that way. Okay, so you will write like this: the process which is necessary for our body to survive, like respiration, circulation, nutrition, expiration, is known as the life essential process. So you told them that it is a life essential process, and here you will write and as we know that reproduction is a biological process where living beings have the ability to reproduce offspring, so offspring to reproduce offspring. So this is a process which is responsible for continuation of life, and even if it is not done, it will not affect the individual because an individual can survive. So here you have tell them that how reproduction process is different from the life essential process. Okay, can survive without this process. Okay, so even so if an individual can survive without this process, so how we can say that the reproduction process is an life essential process. Okay, So we can say that it is not a life essential process, but it is important for the living beings and the environment. Okay. So this is how you should close the answer on a positive note. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So we have discussed all the three questions, and I hope you can understand very well. And I hope I can make you clear how you should write the answers in your examination. Okay, and just make your answers impactful for the examining on the examining. So thank you for joining the class, and we will meet our next class with the new questions and with the more possible questions which can come into your examination. Okay, and so thank you for joining the class. Thank you again.